Hello, everyone. Happy National Poetry Month. I feel like my microphone last time was a little muffled, but we'll see how it goes this video. And speaking of poetry, if you need any other book suggestions besides the ones I gave you, what if I wrote the word poem inspired by music written by ya boy? It's always in my link tree, always in the description. It would really mean a lot if you support it. I know people have bought it, but I don't think anybody's reviewed it, not that I know of. I do not like go to my listing and check it or anything, so there could be reviews, but who knows? But today we're here to talk about this book, Becoming Billie Holiday, written by Carole Boston Weatherford and art by Floyd Cooper. Now, I didn't really mention the art too much because it's not consistent like the other book I read last week, Celebrating Poets, um, by Kwame Alexander. But there is some, and I will show some. As you can see, I have a lot that I liked, so we're going to get into it. Of course, the genre is poetry. I'm going to read the back of the book. It's not really the back of the book, like the back of the duster, but they do have their autobiographies here. Or their biographies. Yeah. Carole Boston Weatherford is an award-winning poet and author of 24 books for young readers. That's great. Including Birmingham 1963, Sidewalk Chalk, Poems of the City, a Negro League scrapbook, Moses when Harriet Tubman led her people to freedom, and Freedom on the Menu. Oh, is this the same? I'm not sure. They have a bunch of semicolons in between them, so I'm thinking they're different titles. So Freedom on the Menu maybe is another version of that. Okay, and then the last book is oh no, this is a different book. And Freedom on the Menu then has colons, the Greensboro Sit-ins. Okay, so there's two different books. She's won a NAACP Image Award, the Carter G. Woodson Award from the National Council for Social Studies, the Reagan Rubin Award from the North Carolina English Teachers Association, and the Juvenile Literature Award for the American Association of University Women, North Carolina. Say that 5 times fast. She's the member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She teaches at Fayetteville State University in North Carolina. And then Floyd Cooper has illustrated over 60 books for children, including Grandpa's Face by Eloise Greenfield, Meet Denitra Brown by Nikki Grimes, I've Heard of the Land by Joyce Carol Thomas, Tough Boy Sonatos, Tough Boy Sonatos. I know some, I think that's Italian. Some Italian person is upset with me. By Curtis L. Chrysler, Miss Crandall School for Young Ladies, and Little Misses of Color by Elizabeth Alexander and Marilyn Nelson, and Coming Home from the Life of Langston Hughes, which he wrote. Okay, nice. He's a recipient of the Coretta Scott King Award, 3 Coretta Scott King honors, 10 ALA notables, and NAACP Image Award, amongst other honors. He lives in Pennsylvania. And this one also has the Coretta Scott King Award on the front. If you can see that. I'm trying not to move my mic too much, but there we go. And this was released, I want to say my notes it said 2008. Yes, it was released in 2008. For some reason, I cannot find a specific date. And then I think some of the dates I found were like too current. And I think it was like a reprint date. And no, this one says 2008, but it doesn't have like an exact date. But yeah, this is the book. I got the hardcover. I got this at the Jazz Museum in Kansas City, which was a really good museum. I went to see Beyonce last year, and I got this book at when we were like there. We were there like maybe a day or two before she came, so we were doing stuff, me and my friend. So I got that book there. And it was also attached to the African American Negro League Museum. Definitely recommend both museums. Got that there. Says it was $12. That's good. What else? Okay, the synopsis. Before the legend of Billie Holiday, there was a girl named Eleanor. Eleanor. Yeah. In 1915, Sadie Fagan gave birth to a daughter she named Eleanor. Eleanor. I don't know why I keep saying her name weird. But anyway, I don't know why. It's weird. Maybe it's an old school name, so I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Because I never met anybody named Eleanor. But anyway, the world, however, would know her as Billie Holiday, possibly the greatest jazz singer of all time. Eleanor's journey into legend took her through pain, poverty, and run-ins with the law. By the time she was 15, she knew she possessed something that could possibly change her life: a voice. Eleanor could sing. Her remarkable voice led her to a place in the spotlight with some of the era's hottest big bands. Billie Holiday sang as if she had lived each lyric, and in many ways she had. Throughout a sequence of raw and poignant poems. Ooh, alliteration. Award-winning poet Carole Boston Weatherford chronicles Eleanor Fagan's metamorphosis into Billie Holiday. The author examines the singer's young life, her fight for survival, and the dream she pursued with passion in his Coretta Scott King Author Award winner. Author Honor Award. Coretta Scott King Author Honor winner. With stunning artwork by Floyd Cooper, this book provides a revealing look at a cultural icon. Okay, I am not talking very well today, y'all. But as you can see the cover, he created that. And I'll show some more artwork once we get to it. So I'm gonna talk about my pros and my cons and my overall opinion. Then I'm gonna read a couple poems, and then I'll read the poem that I was inspired by to write my own poem today. So the pros are the poetry felt like it actually could be things she felt and saw, and the author had many autobiographies and biographies she read for this book. Like in the back of the index, she has all of her sources that she used for this poetry book, which is really great. Which I definitely could tell she was trying to capture Billie's spirit. So I really got that from this book. Poetry is really great, honestly. And I would definitely read more from Carole Boston Weatherford. It was really good. And then the directory, like I said, I love that Carole gave more information in the index where you can find out more about Billie Holiday. And I will be doing more research on her life. And in the back, she also has like things where you can listen. So I'm guessing they're like maybe podcasts or something. Yeah, it says future reading and listening. And there are books. Okay, yeah, they have some music, the best of her, Billie Holiday, the best of Billie Holiday, like a CD, some jazz CDs recommended, and some books, yeah. And then she has references to like different stuff in the back. And then she has biographies of everyone mentioned in the book. Like she went out with Bessie Smith's band, so they have a biography about Bessie Smith. Um, she talks about somebody named Lester, it's nicknamed Prez Young, who was like a band member to her. They have Louis Armstrong. They talk about here. So they have different people, and they have their biographies as well. Um, yeah, and then her afterward, she talks about her favorite Billie Holiday songs and what her perfect Billie Holiday album would be, and all of the poems, besides a few, are all named after Billie Holiday songs. That's really great. So let's get into my overall opinion. I love the poetry and the artwork of this book. I really love every poem besides a few were named after Billie Holiday songs. Oh, I'll talk about that. Well, I love that fact. It's really cool. It really felt like it was truly getting to know a child to young adult Billie Holiday. And I love this book and would definitely recommend it for any Billie Holiday fans. Giving it a 10 out of 10. I feel like I've been giving a lot of 10 out of 10s. I have I haven't talked about it, but I do have one book I gave a 6 out of 10. I think that's my lowest. And then another one I gave 7 out of 10, but they're not poetry related or anything. But I'm going to read some of my favorite poems now. I'm going to read the introduction. Oh, let me show you some of the artwork. And the technique he used, he talks about it in the back of the book. Dang ring light. Wish you could see this better. But basically, let me just read it because I feel like I'm going to tell y'all the wrong thing. It's like, I guess, abstract, where you paint it a certain way and then you take out the color. Okay, Floyd Cooper's artwork for this book was created with the subtraction technique, using erasers to make shapes from a ground of paint. The shapes were then enhanced with mixed media, mostly oil-based, layered in a dry brush fashion. And then they talk about some more about the type, but I feel like that's really cool, like to make something and then take things away to make it look like this. If you can see it. But anyway, so I'm going to read the introduction. Oh, and then this is a picture of a little Billie Holiday, which I think is just so cute. Okay, that's better like that, but it's not really head on. But yeah, so it's called Intro. What shall I say? The way my mom twittered around that magazine with my photo inside, you thought I was Woman of the Year. I don't blame Sadie. Wasn't every day that a colored face, let alone her only child, appeared in time. I was proud. I was proud too till I read what the two-bit critic wrote. Called me a roly-poly. I said I wouldn't dye it. Was stuck on my own voice and cared for tunes but not the words. What did he know about my taste in food or music? I never even talked to the cat, but he'd better not cross my path. If he dares, he'll get a mouthful. For just how I got to Harlem and became Lady Day, all the tales I tell. So yeah, so that's I feel like that's a good compilation of like her personality, like her love for music and food and defending herself. And then my other favorite poem, well, one of my favorite poems is called One Two Button Your Shoe, which this poem and the introduction I wrote shorter poems for, if you haven't seen my shorts. One, two, button your shoe. When I was 5, I wore high top shoes rather than heels, cotton frocks rather than furs, and white bows instead of gardenias, which, is her signature flower. And then I have in my notes, page 22, I liked. Which I already wrote. I also wrote a poem to this. But now I gotta see, did I like anything that was not one of her songs? Mm, so far, no. But I'm gonna double check when I keep reading. But anyway, I also wrote a poem to this poem. And I'm gonna show the artwork. It's called "You Ain't Gonna Bother Me No More." I keep up with the boys, shooting marbles and dice, but not catching bugs. Crawling, crawly things gave me the creeps, and all the boys knew it. Once after a ball game, I was sitting on the curb, and a sore loser swung a rat by the tail in my face. They have like diseases. Ugh. Anyway, I begged him to stop, but he just grinned. Then that rat brushed my cheek. I grabbed a baseball bat and sent that boy to the hospital. Oh, she was always a fighter. Which I think the poem I wrote for this was called Tough. And then here's the rat, which, gross. Um, which I don't think Billie Holiday was from Philadelphia. I mean, was from New York, but she definitely like blew up in the Harlem. Being in the Harlem, I don't think it was the Harlem Renaissance, but she blew up in Harlem basically and got her stay. She got her start. I just cannot think today. But I want to say they mentioned where she's from. Oh, she's from Baltimore. Now I remember because I think I had some other. I think I had somewhere where it said, or like I read a synopsis. But that's cool. She's from the DMV. That's cool to know. Now my iPad does not want to unlock. Okay, I'm gonna read one that I do not think was inspired by any of her songs. Let me double check in the table of contents. I've read like 2 or 3 poems. Page 70. No, this one was not inspired by her songs. But I think this is the one where she's talking about her name, actually. So that would be cool to see. But there's just so much. Oh, here it is. But there's just so much information in this book about her life and like literally from I guess pretty much birth to like um Yeah, and then it's to her young adult when she first starts um, in music, like getting big. So this one's not inspired by any of her songs. It's called Matinee American Beauty. Even though I worked all night and slept half the day, I still caught matinees sometimes, especially if Billie Dove was starring, which is how she got her name. Uh, her first name, anyway, for her stage name. When she batted her hazel eyes and plucked her bee-stung lips, there was no doubt why she was called the American Beauty. In silent films and talkies, black and white and technicolor, she blossomed from damsel in distress to woman of substance. Between her films, I delved into her private life through Hollywood gossip magazines, picture goer, photoplay, and modern screen. Born Lillian, she started young like me, a Broadway chorus line at 16. She had the guts to ask for $50 a week. Then she went from Hollywood bit parts to leading lady, writing a string of hits to get top billing at the box office. As devoted as fans, as devoted to fans as they were to her, she signed glamour shots by the thousands. Love Billie Dove. What I'd give to own one. Then she shocked Hollywood when Playboy pivot and movie producer Howard Hughes paid her husband to divorce her. Rising above the scandal, Billie ditched the high-flying Hughes, penned poems, painted landscapes, and learned to fly herself. Oh, to wear her wings. And you have a picture of Billie Dove, which they talk about her biography in the back of the book as well. Um, I'm trying to think. I feel like I don't want to read too much because I feel like you should get the book. But that is just a little taste of some of the poems in the book. There's so much like it's about her childhood, about her being a sex worker, about her dropping out of school, her oh, this is a picture of her, really beautiful. Um about her dropping out of school, going to reform school, having to I think she went to juvie. Unfortunately, she was sexually or almost sexually assaulted, but of course, it's still dramatic. It's just so much. So I definitely recommend reading it. But I'm gonna read the last poem of the book, which is inspired my poem I wrote for today. And it's inspired by the song "Strange Fruit," which I feel like is her most famous song. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's called "Coda Strange Fruit." After years of being barred from entering front doors, sitting on bandstands, and mingling at whites only clubs, how could I not headline Cafe Society, one of the first joints to let blacks and whites mix? After being called nigger wench down south and high yellow in Detroit, how could I resist the chance to sing in my own skin? After a cigarette sponsor cut me from its radio show, how could I not yearn again to breathe free? After moving from place to place as a child, how could I not relish a long run in Greenwich Village, New York's hippest hunt? How could I not thrive at a place where the owner, an ex-shoe salesman, worshipped the ground I walked on, and the waiters asked noisy patrons to leave rather than disturb my show? When the NAACP hung the flag, a man was lynched yesterday from its 69th Street office. How could I not long to voice outrage? When the schoolteacher Lewis Allen showed me his protest poem about lynching and plucked a somber melody on the piano, how could I let that tune slip away without passing through my lips? When the waiter stopped service, the room was pitch black, except for a spotlight on my face. And I stood completely still, performing strange fruit. How could I not shed tears? When I arrived at Cafe Society, a girl singer with a string of hits, and departed the star of the hour, how could I not claim this is my song? So I feel like that's really so great. And I've never read a book like this where it was like fictionalized, like the poems in the voice of a real person, but still very factual about her real life. That's really cool. So definitely recommend this book. And I'm going to read my poem that I wrote today. So I want to write a high bun, which is a paragraph poem with a haiku. And the haiku is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables in 3 lines. So my poem is called Our Poem. How could I stand by and let my people suffer? How could I see history repeating and never take notice? How could I see the cycles of the past coming and not stop the future? How could I see the despair of my people and get joy? How could I see the destruction of progress and not resist it? How could I see how long we've gotten? Hold on. Oh, shoot. I have a typo. It's supposed to be how low. Oh, that don't make no sense. Here we go. How could I see how low we've gotten without wanting to bring us even higher than we were before? How could I see all of this and say it's not our fight because we fought for so long, but this is our poem and we get to rest here. Every time we tried, we got pushed back every time, so we're done trying. That's basically how I feel right now with, the current administration, as I keep mentioning, wanting to push back progress. And you know what, black people, we've been fighting for so long for this country and trying to make it better. And unfortunately, white supremacy doesn't want that. They want to push back and to have power. And I remember people were talking about this, that white people, racist white people, I will say, and then I guess white people in general who want to be empowered, think that if they are the minority, they're going to get treated the same way that they treat us. So they don't want to become the minority, which is sad because it's like, maybe we should treat people better. You wouldn't have to worry about if you're a minority and you're going to get treated badly too. So, yeah, so that's my poem, our poem. And this is Billie Holiday, Becoming Billie Holiday, Carole Boston Weatherford. And something about her biography I want to mention. I didn't read the biography, I actually copied from Wikipedia. But she's also been a critic of like cartoon characters that are like kind of minstrelly, like Jinx from Pokemon and Mr. Popo. And they've actually fixed things because she pointed them out. And I feel like that's really cool that, it wasn't just brushed aside, but it was made better because she mentioned something about it. I feel like that's what progress is. You mention something's wrong, you fix it, you make it better. But of course, it's gonna take hundreds of years. I'm gonna be dead by then before anything ever really gets too much better. But I'm not gonna leave that on a depressing note. Please get this book. This is a great book, and I also want to get any of the biographies and the autobiography because I'm pretty sure she uses Billie Holiday's own autobiography, which is called, I think it's called Lady Sings the Blues. And yeah, and I really love that, she has in the back where you can get all this information and you can get more information from, yeah, Lady Sings the Blues with William Duffy, which was released in 1992. And yeah, I feel like I definitely think that's worth it. And yeah, let me know. Have you read this book? Will you read it because of my review? Let me know. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.